Hey guys, welcome back to Cobx Masters here in Mumbai, India. Fantastic to be having such a large event like this here in India. First time for me, first time for you as well. And also
Not the
first
first
time,
time.
definitely not the first time for him. First time now that we actually get to have a look at Group B as well. So obviously we've had a bit of an idea as to how Group A seems to be panning out, but this is when we start to get into now the nitty-gritty of what we were talking about a little bit earlier. We touched briefly on Group B. Next game coming up, Global and Boot. This one I think is a little bit more cut and dry, similar to what our last game was, at least on paper.
Yeah, at least on paper, right? Like we did touch upon the fact that this group is actually easier compared to that group. Because Signify, initially we were like, yeah, they have the upset potential. Then we saw the first half, we're like, yeah, nothing's happening. Then they showed they could do something. So I think that group's a little bit more interesting right now. Here it's Greyhound and it's Boot, the two firm favorites. Greyhound to go out of the group with the upper seed and Boot to come in second. That's what it should be on paper. Now Global, they're a team who they're the second Indian team in the event. They qualify for this event as well, but they haven't had to play against Signify nor Entity Esports, the two best teams in the country right now to qualify for this. So they, there's not much to judge them with. They're a new lineup as well. They have two Polish players who've played in teams like Pride, for example, over in Poland. They have this guy Camel who's come in as also the in-game leader. Interesting thing is their Opper Antidote was also the guy who played in Optic India alongside a couple of Signify guys, that is YB and Marzil. So a little bit of history behind those two teams, like some of the relations. But looking at this matchup, like you mentioned, if you look at Global and Boot, it's going to be a very interesting matchup in particular, primarily because both teams have something to prove, right? You have Boot, who are right now looking extremely, extremely solid. They are, a team that is kind of new as well. They're trying to figure it out, and they're having a pretty easy opponent, to be very honest. And for Global, everyone's doubting them. I was like, yeah, they're just going to get stomped out, and they have a point to prove.
I mean, how would you compare them to against Signify, for example?
I think Signify is. I think there is a potential for an upset again, like if Signify and Global face off against each other. But at least based off, Signify have achieved something. They have beaten Bravado in the past. They have dominated the Indian scene for a very short period of time, and they are still regarded as probably the best team, or maybe the second best team alongside Entity. Global haven't
MVP too as well.
Yeah, they came close to pulling off the upset as well, right? So there is something in that team. Global, they had a pretty easy run, and I don't think I've seen this lineup really. I don't think this lineup has played on land yet. And secondly, I don't think they've really been tested by anyone, and I'm talking even in the Indian circuit.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this kind of lineup works. Obviously, we were talking about multinational. What are your thoughts there? Like, obviously, you've got a couple of guys coming from Poland. You've got a few guys coming from India. That must cause a little bit of an issue, surely.
Maybe a bit of language barrier, possibly.
Well, I mean, I think almost all the Indian players can speak English speak English to a pretty high degree of proficiency. So I don't think that's going to be a big problem. But then again, Polish players aren't really known for having great English either. But I think they'll be able to manage things.
All right. Well, time to start bringing our teams onto the stage. Obviously, we say it's Global. We say it's Boot. Bloot, indeed. But let's talk about Global first. They are, again, a home team, so hopefully the crowd's going to get excited. Please welcome to the stage, Global. Obviously, a team that we're hoping will perform well here, guys.
Definitely home crowd.
Yeah, I mean, you have Rexy and Tito. They're like the Mumbai boys. They have the friends over here. Like, everyone's supporting them. Obviously, they would be the hometown favorites. But then, Boot Dreamscape, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but it's still going to be a mountain here.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Boot, I think it's time we may as well bring them out onto stage as well. Please welcome Boot Dreamscape. Well, a few cheers there for Boot Dreamscape as well. I was actually a little surprised. I thought that, they're obviously the enemy.
Well, I mean, if you look at the Asian scene, right? Let's be honest, the crowd sitting over here, they know their local Counter-Strike. And Dreamscape are a team, Boot, as they're more popularly known nowadays, are a very well-known name, at least in Southeast Asia. The second, and they've been the bane of many Indian teams when it comes to like the Southeast Asian qualifiers and whatnot. Pretty known team. They played in so many minors. They played in so many events here and there. So yeah, I mean, they're pretty known name, so to speak.
All right, we'll get the team sitting down now over on their stations. But guys, let's dive a little bit deeper into this game coming up. I think we've spoken a little bit about, obviously, Global. We need to talk about Boot, though. They've obviously had a lot of roster changes. We've seen 2 or 3 new guys coming into the roster. Last year for them has been a bit up and down as well. They've had that kind of 7-man, 6-man rotating core. But now it seems like they finally settled on the 5-man roster, which is, I think, a good sort of a sign looking forward for Boot here.
Yeah, I mean, I've played before with 6, 7-man lineups. They never work. I mean, you keep rotating, you keep having to rotate positions, you keep having to rotate generally roles, and that never seems to work. So it's best to keep it as a 5-man and stay consistent. That's at least the best way to keep going.
I agree. I think maybe in the future, I still like theory crafting out of future Counter-Strike, and I feel like maybe a 6-man roster might be something. But I think a team like Astralis would be the first team to figure it out before anyone else does. And right now, I don't think they're at that level yet. I think Alex being the in-game leader, no longer being the coach, I think is a great thing because they needed leadership. This team is always falling flat when it came down. When the pressure was on, the defaults were breaking apart. Him being the in-game leader is a very great thing. And then you have the firepower in the form of SplashK, your favorite player from Singapore. And then we have, of course, the Vi from Malaysia, the second best player apart from Kaze. And, of course, in the form of Benkai coming back to the team. This is going to be a Boot that can be a dangerous force in this tournament.
Now, what is it about the Malaysian scene that brings up all these great AWPers as well, by the way? We're talking about the 2 best players maybe from Malaysia. It's Kaze's an AWPer and so is the Vi.
No, I think the Vi, yeah, he can do everything, actually. He can AWP, but his rifle is where it's going to shine. So I think SplashK, considering his specialty, is with a big green zoom bang.
Yeah,
he wants to. You want to give that to him, right? But if it comes on a map like Train, when you want to go with a dual AWP, maybe even Dust 2, he can definitely pick up that secondary AWP.
I think from memory, actually, I saw Vi secondary AWPing on Nuke as well recently in another qualifier.
Of course, it has to be Asian CS where you have 2 AWPs running around.
Yeah, literally on every map. But look, Boot, they actually surprised me recently. You know, when we were looking at some of these online qualifiers, I saw them go into a final against Lucid Dream, another one of the Thai teams, and the Thai team had the map advantage, and I was like, you know what, Boot, I don't think they're ready for this. I don't think they're new enough of a roster to be able to kind of like actually make an impact in this. But it seems like this roster is kind of meshing well together and now seeming to make some good moves.
I mean, I agree, but what do you think about Global side? I mean, can they really catch up to that? I mean, considering how well Boot's been performing.
I don't think so. I'll be very honest. I'm just going to lay it out here. I think it's going to be Boot's game to lose. I don't see them losing this any world whatsoever, unless maybe on the map that goes through, if it's a sort of map like Nuke, Train, or maybe even Dust 2, which can capitulate out of control. And if Global somehow get that energy flowing with the crowd behind them, it could work out.
It's good that you start talking about the maps because we're going to have that coming up shortly. Now, I just want to throw this out there. Like, is there a world even here for Global that they can actually win this veto?
Not really, and I'll tell you why. I'm just like wrote down some of the maps that these guys like playing. Firstly, Global, I have no clue about the map pool. I do know they don't like playing Nuke, right? They're a very new team, so I think they're going to ban out Nuke first thing because Boot do like playing Nuke, right? So they're going to ban out Nuke. They're going to ban out Inferno and Mirage. Again, these are the 3 maps that Boot are very, very comfortable on. Okay, we're going to be seeing it anyway right now. So Global's going to ban Mirage out. Makes sense. You don't want to play Mirage against Boot, against most Asian teams in general, right? Even though Global are technically an Asian team. We're going to be overpassed. Perma-banned by Boot. They never play that map.
Yep.
Train getting banned out. No surprises there. Cash getting banned. Again, a map that Boot don't really like playing. Nuke's getting banned out like expect. I thought it would be the first ban, but whatever. And Dust 2. Yeah, no surprises there. Because that's the thing. When you're a team like Boot, you have that depth of map pool. You might not have that many maps. You know, like you don't have like enough maps like Astralis, for example, right? Yeah. But you will always feel more comfortable when it comes to these sort of maps where it's like a middle ground map, so to speak. And Dust 2, man. SplashK goes off, you're done. That's it. Game's over.
Again, we were talking about double orbs. What better map than Dust 2?
Yeah, perfect. I think, but also for Global, this is probably the best case scenario, to be very honest. Like, you don't want to play Nuke or freaking, I don't know, like Train or these maps or even Mirage against Boot. So what other options do you have, right? Other maps, which are going to be banned out by Boot. So
I feel like it's a very standard map. Like, everyone knows how to play Dust 2. That dates back 20 years, I believe.
Do they know? Like, I don't know, man.
Oh, well, everyone used to play it on public servers back in the day.
That's true, but if you look at Dust 2 right now, what I've noticed of late is I'm enjoying watching Dust 2. I used to hate the map because it seemed very dry, but all these top tier teams are pushing the limits of the map to get that extra little edge. And you see
Exactly.
cool new things coming out, which has stopped happening in certain maps like Cash and Mirage. You don't really see too many cool things
No.
coming out, right? Dust 2, you see a lot of good stuff. At the same time, you see teams who, for example, you're taking A through short, they don't even go for a flashbang. And that could be a problem if the pressure gets on, if your flashes aren't on point, if your teamwork's not on point.
Yeah.
Forget the executes. Those basic small things don't work out. You're going to fall flat.
I mean, I never felt like Dust 2 was a map that you could really be creative in. Like, it's always flat out the same tactics over and over. You sort of predict when it's going to be a fake. Because you just play it so often, there's so little amount you could really do.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Dust 2 these days, it has actually changed a lot.
Yeah.
And even back in the day, they always say, like, OT side, way overpowered, etc. But now, I mean, especially when you have, like, say, an Opper at car on long,
Yeah.
that could really shut down a T-push, whether it be on short or elsewhere. And especially in the past, I mean, you always considered Dust 2 B-side to be the hardest site in the entire game.
Yeah.
And nowadays, there's actually been more creative ways to try to actually do something about it.
True.
All right, well, we're going to find out. Of course, it is Global up against Boots, and time to go over to our casters. Back to you, DDK and James.
Thank you very much. This is going to be a very interesting game of Dust 2, and it's about to kick off almost immediately. And it looks like it'll be Global on the T side and Boots on the CT side after the knife. What are your expectations then?
Some carnage here on Dust 2, James.
Yeah.
It's a great map for the open aim displays. That's where mechanics can really shine. And as Blair was alluding to on the desk, there are a lot of simple things with Dust 2. You don't have to get too complicated. If you know your pop flashes and basic setups, if you have the skill, if you're the more skilled team, that can go a long way in of itself.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to seeing who really shines from that perspective.
Yeah, I want to see some P250s in this pistol round from the T side. We have 3 players okay, everyone's brought up now. So we've got Tito on grenades and the rest on armor, so we can go into the game because the round has begun. Quick transition into the game, and that will be fantastic. We've got 4 players on Kevlar for the CT side, and Alex will have 2 flashes. So let's see what we can see. All right. So we've got Bobasaur, he's pushed up the short position. There's players in the lower tunnel. They've got people pushing up long for the T side as well. An exchange of frags, and this is a fast-moving pistol round.
Indeed, look to go into the A bomb site here. Zareen straight up there. Nice from Bobasaur, finds himself ahead. A second one as well. And now things are starting to get a little bit sketchy here for Global Esports as they start to move in to try and plant the bomb. Eventually, we're actually able to take down Bobasaur, but he has done massive damage. Alex has that kit. He is alone now. Second kill coming up for him. Now the 1v1 against Rex. Rex with Dad's Molotov, but the bomb was just freshly planted, so that molly, have to see if it's going to be effective. Does kill some time, makes it a little bit harder for Alex to close the distance, but still stuck in a corner. But Rexy, even though he's stuck in the corner, still gets away with it. Lovely stuff coming in from him. All 5 kills as well, dealing with the situation quite nicely and perhaps shutting down some of the doubters, James.
Yeah, it's a great way to start, killing everybody in the pistol round. Risky stuff with the Molotov, but he had the nice confidence, especially when he chose to take that duel at the end. So we've got the force buy from Boot. We've got Splash with the Scouts and the rest on pistols. We've got the odd grenade here and there, but Global are very well equipped, so let's see what they can do with it. Boot taking long for the time being. Rexy not try and add more to his tally. That didn't work out, though. So Camille's got only a Glock. Oh, no, he dropped his Mac 10 already. So, yeah, they'll keep the valuable weapons on the high health players. That's always a smart decision. So, nice to see that focus. 3 Mac 10s on Dust 2, though. That's... I mean, it has limited range, and Dust 2 is a very open map, so that could make things awkward. However, it looks like they do want to collapse towards a certain site where that won't be so bad. Rexy keeping an eye on long for the time being. So this might just work out for Global.
Then go with that deagle, though they'll be walking into it. Can he get anything else from this behind the barrels? Struggling, though. And it looks like Bobasaur's going to do some damage to Vi coming in as well. Alex, everyone is chiming in. How has there been so little damage for Global Esports? What on earth just happened? 4 players surviving. They're going to pick up a bunch of AKs. That went better than expected.
Go back into the game. There we go. Crossing the doors are Boots, so just normal stuff from them. Global have managed to take the long position, but again, they're not really well equipped. So we'll see how Boot reacts to this.
Quick boost onto elevator there for Splash Skeet. See if he can find anything with that. Scouts. Nothing doing so far, but Alex is pushed all the way up catwalk. He's going to get a backstab in. That is not a bad way to start things off. A lot of map control, a lot of information as well as to what the T's are doing so far. Camille trying to find himself a headshot with a scout, and depending on how brave Splashkey is, he might get a heads-up duel. However, Splashkey's already been tagged, and Bobasaur also spotting some players in middle. And Global Esports, they're getting picked off one by one here. And you can see the health is very low on 2 of the 3 that remain. Camille's still looking for someone to give him something, but...
He's fishing. He's gone fishing.
Yeah. He doesn't get anything just yet, though.
It's a great burst from Devi. He'll be saying goodbye after this round. Easy clean up towards long position. So another round in the bag for Boot. We'll see what the money is like for Global.
Really awkward very quickly. And also having as much catch as possible to keep replenishing the double AWPs, and even giving yourself the option to go and run a double setup, double AWP setup. That's fantastic. So they'll have every option available to them, as we do see more or less a full save, just a smoke there on Antidote. And I wonder what they'll be going for here, if that will be, you know, for the cross onto the A-bomb side to try to plant short, or it looks like they want to go for a quick split through middle in towards B. Actually able to trade on to Benkai, only gets 1 frag there. And there is the smoke, the B split smoke, but straight through the MAC-10. That's fine to go down there after a single kill. And Camille trying to go for a backstab. Nothing doing here for the T sides, and Boot are happy with that. You know, they already, you know, won against with a force buy. They're effectively throwing away worse weapons that they upgrade anyway. So it's a pretty good situation for Boot still.
Yeah, Global did make it expensive. AWP for Splash is going to be really important in this particular round. All of Global in the B apps area. Just the one towards B, Splash. He has himself an off angle. 2 players lurking around. Will they go for a peek? Will they drop the smoke grenade? The lurk smoke. You can have one guy behind the smoke. You can have a bunch. That one smoke forces them to use some utility. In the meantime, we have Benkai taken out in the CT spawn position. Devi's going to have some issues as well. He could jump onto the crate to look over the smoke grenade, but he might not get there in time. Splash has so many issues. He doesn't know that someone else is on the side. He will get traded, and that might just be the round.
Yeah, it's looking bad, but Bobasaur swinging from the back, gets himself a fast 2K, and there's more damage to be done, throwing down the incendiary to buy some time. Tito looking to try to control the flank here. It's a problem because Zorian's stuck on the bomb site versus 2. He's got to deal with that 1 versus 1 in middle. Zorian doing a good job as well, finds the first headshot, but Bobasaur has been a monster in this round, able to keep himself covered using the big box, and there it is, Devi coming in from the back. Bobasaur lit up that B bomb site. I don't think they were expecting that.
Yeah, the play through the smoke was a lot. Basically, they weren't prepared for that. Not something you often see on the B bomb sites, and it allowed Boot to win the round, essentially. Gave them a great man advantage. There were positional issues for Global as well, and they didn't really recover from that. They could buy in parts, but it looks like there will be some kind of eco. Buy down to 2,000 might be the call. So it's 1 scout coming out, some Desert Eagles and some Kevlar. Some flashes here and there. Zorian's gone full armor and a Desert Eagle. I would probably rather see a 2nd scout along with the other stuff they have, but on the T side, maybe 1 scout is enough. Might be a slow round as Global fish for picks. Alex spots somebody in the lower tunnel, considering his grenades, and it will be a conservative one on shorts.
Camille trying to lurk around that smoke. Is the typical B lurk smoke. Some teams like to throw it very, very commonly. And boom, there it is. It's going to pay off quite nicely. And now Buddha in some real trouble. Devi trying to save things here in middle. The AK-47 doing great work for him. Now as they have the issue, there is a player on the B bomb site, but they don't know that the bomb is not there just yet. And so they'll actually beat out the rotation, forcing, Devi forces his way through, loses to the Deagle. Now things get, oh god, okay, well things are starting to be a bit disastrous now for Boot, but Bobasaur once again looking to save the day.
Just under a minute on the clock. Global moving away from the B-bomb site. In this kind of situation, you can hold position in a 2 versus 2 because the CTs may feel compelled to spread to either sides, and that has happened ultimately. And they're on for a flank. Do they start running? No, well, they've been spotted now. There's a 1 versus 1. The bomb still hasn't been seen just yet. Tito, not really getting what he was looking for. And Boot will survive with 2 players. An expensive round, but a round nonetheless. Global on the buy once again. There's an AWP for Antidote. We'll see if he can beat Splash in a duel.
The Splashki, we haven't really seen him up to much so far, but it is early days. But Boots, you know, they are really starting to speed ahead. Let's see if Antidote can get something here. Looking for the gap shots. And no one is going to avail themselves, although that was close. A hand almost seen. And it's going to be Rexy that takes the first bit of damage, though, in the rounds. They are now rushing up towards Catwalk. Bobasaur's position there. Got the smoke down as well. But he is alone in this position. He does quickly have Divide coming in. You could offer up a flashbang from the A-bomb side itself. Deep flash, perhaps, to assist Bobasaur's escape. Bobasaur falls back. And he's going to get a fadeaway frag there. Not bad at all. And that's a 5 versus 3 very quickly here again for Boots.
More area control for Boots, so Global are unable to trade the kill. Very forward positions. Camel is in for a world of hurt. He's got to do something. He's got to make a play. I think Alex may have seen something. Pulls a grenade out, and he is gone. Last 2 players up on the short position. 2 Boots players are around the A site as the first one. Bobasaur is on 14 HP. He might have to buy time for his teammates to rotate now. Benkai with a flashbang for him. Soren will get taken out, and that will be Tito following up afterwards as well. So 6-1 for Boot. 4 players survived that round. And they continue to build their money. Bobasaur and Devi, $10,000 plus. And Global Esports can buy as well.
Yes, Bobasaur is quite the thorn in the side of Global Esports. He has died only once so far, and he's got 13 kills. So yeah, he's absolutely loving it here on Dust 2 with the rifle. And indeed, the double AWP setup does come into play. Finally, his Splashki and Devi on those. And we'll see a fast long take coming in. There's the smoke for the corner. Flashbangs over the top. Let's see how Boot reacts. Well, you know what? They've decided not even to contest A-long in the start. They've got Bobasaur rushing down Catwalk, going for the flank. Oh, it's actually been spotted, but I'm not sure if he saw the bomb there. I think the bomb's been thrown to a more hidden location, but still, he will fall back. And his middle control is quite difficult. It's going to waste a lot of time here. Global wanted to take long and just start progressing up towards Catwalk, but they won't get the pick on him. Perhaps he outstayed his welcome.
That's a meaty grenade. He seems to know exactly where Alex is, and now Alex is gone. That's a big frag, because now there are issues, and Splash has got to hold down the long position from here. He can't really do that. Once that smoke goes, he has to fear the flanks of Tito. And his other 2 teammates are in CT spawn for the time being. Starting to frag though, so Global need to do something to go. What the hell? All of a sudden, they've got 3 frags in a row. Now it's just Tito 1 versus 3. And that fell to pieces very, very quickly indeed, like they were hit by a meteorite or something.
Yeah, they were trying to cross onto the bomb site, and Benkai with that scope with the AUG there from the around CT spawn was able just to snipe down 2 players as they crossed, and that was the bomb on the ground, and things got desperate from there. That was very strange, so I agree. It was quite surprising. Like Global Esports had the bomb site, you know, life was good. Looked like the retake was positionally absolutely atrocious, but if you get those picks before they go onto the site, life is good. And so things will continue as they did in the previous round for Boots, the double AWPs and so on. But for Global, they're down to pistols. Half buy is in, some Kevlar as well, and a few grenades. So they'll try to bust their way into the B-bomb site. Devi is there with an AWP. So could work out if he misses his first shot, but he does have Benkai for support.
There's the Loke smoke. How much does he spam? He's got 9 bullets left. Looking for a boost over the smoke. There are some grenades, quite telling, avoids a flashbang. Got to find someone to hit though. Benkai will start off the job. Alex is there as well. And it looks like this push will be muted by the likes of Boot. Again, can't expect too much from Global. They did get 1 kill, which will be good for a $4,000 to $5,000 of damage, and that always helps, especially with 6 rounds still to play for. So let's see what they can do in this one. Global, they won the pistol. They haven't won a round since, so they've got plenty of max loss bonus. Antidote's not on the scoreboard just yet. He is on the AWP, however. We'll see what Tito has in the store. He's got an AK-47, so I look through mid, and if he holds it long enough, he might get something out of this. think Alex might be playing anti-flash in case of a fast play through the doors, in fact.
Here's a pop flash from Camel, but before that could come in, nice peek from Splashki to get that frag. And oh my god, still the AWP looking down the gap from T-Spawn. I don't think Splashki expected that at this time of the round. Does avoid getting fragged though. And that'll be the 5 versus 4 as things settle here for Boots. However, Global Esports do have catwalk control at this point. They can start threatening the A-bomb site, which may pull a player from middle, perhaps Alex, from that mid double doors into CT spawn. And then that, based off of the rotation, will allow Global Esports stronger options towards a B hit, where the bomb currently is, although as I say that, it's being rotated back out through T-spawn. And to Dote, he was so patient, but timing there is not favorable, and Splashki will nail him. And now just 3 players left, James, here for Global Esports.
The bomb is top mid. They have 2 smokes left, so if they need to smoke something else, they can do that. The flashbang works as well. Trying to make their way across, and no, that's the bomb. That's going to delay them yet more, and Boot know exactly what's going on. Rexy takes that fight to the death, but he wins it. He's still going back, but he's got the bomb. He needs to go towards the site. He's made it winnable for himself. Now, Devi is on the A-bomb site. There's a flashbang trying to bait the shot. There's a Molotov towards the site, but this is just buying time for Boot to rotate more players. And there is a pick for Devi. An off angle of the AWP, and it's 9-1 for Boot.
Yeah, they are climbing up the scoreboard rapidly. And these doubles definitely seem to be helping matters for them. Global Esports will have to find a new approach. I think the long take round, I think that going back to that is good because it's so favorable for the Ts to try to open up the round like that. It's not too difficult to take it away from the CTs, and we can see a more normal approach here. So this is way more normal from Boot. 3 players towards long at the beginning of the round, which does offer up, if you have good nades, fragging opportunities such as that. Letou picks himself up. Bobasaur, that's a pretty big kill to find. Bobasaur has been elusive. And that'll be a 4 versus 4. And you can see how the response is here for now for Boots. They have 3 players now, another one rotating into assist. They're going for a retake of long. This is very aggressive from Boot.
So many targets here. They might lose the round, just continuing to fight this. Devi is willing to take the 1 versus 1 stay, but what is the response now from Global Esports? They still have 1:10 on the clock. They have no grenades, so they've got no flashes. So if they go towards the A site, if they go through from short or from long, Zorine on 3 HP, Tito on 34, they are surely doomed. I think B may be their only choice and they're headed there. But they're going to have to deal with Ben Kai, and he's been pretty good in that direction already. He's got 6 kills on the board. He's got a Molotov, although with no grenades for Global, he'll unlikely have a time to throw one. But it seems he has the right idea in mind. So he's going to spot and throw it immediately. There we go, and he does have time. Itchy behind it as well. And there's a flashbang. Zorin, that's a huge frag, 3 HP. That's the bomb site. Double orb retake, they've got to hit the cross. Missed that. Again, there was no smoke, and that's an opportunity that's maybe lost for Boot. How do you retake with 2 AWPs?
Well, they might just show us because, hell, with so much money, they should surely go for this. And Splashki will move through the bomb site. There's someone by the car position as well. The 180 is going to be scary. And again, the 3 HP doesn't matter with these orbs in play. Can't really punish the low HP. Going for a jump shot there. Spots one in the corner. Perhaps can occupy him as indeed it gives Splashki a chance to move through the double doors. But the defense works out. And Global will simply outmaneuver Boot. However, I think Boot, James, they were very aggressive going for that long retake. And perhaps they didn't need to go for that.
Well, they do have plenty of money, and I think they're feeling confident trying to play psychological warfare versus their opponent, and then that will continue with 2 AWPs for Boot. Antidote with the AWP himself. Still looking for his first frag in this game. Round number 12. But Boot have been the better team so far, so they may have starved him of opportunity. Where was that? On the short position, Camel's taken out. Now what? Tito's got the bomb. Zorin having a look through the big doors. Heard a flashbang being deployed. Alex flashing himself Again, where he's standing behind that box. Well, that's a glorious headshot from Zoran. He's looked good. Rexy making his way into the B bomb site. He's walking into a crossfire, and he's not going to win it. Splash Gale will take him out. Tito's via the window, though, finishing off on the second attempt. We've got Benkai with a laboured spray. Down to the USP, he's low. Antidote, there we go. It's first bullet frag for him. 1 versus 2. Both players are here. Bobasaur moving through the tunnel. Well, he realised that Antidote's made a play outside. This is high risk with the AWP. You don't know if your barrel is pointing out too much. Splashke has an idea. He's got the communication from his teammate. And there is the 10th round for Boots. They immediately reset Global Esports. They can still buy. No grenades for him, no grenades for Camel. So I expect a fast round. I do wonder, they have the choice of going towards long. Obviously, they could do that Lex Smoke again and try to burst through that. But I think that's becoming a little obvious now, as they have attempted it in a number of rounds. Ooh, Bobasaur, that's a big frag from Antidote. He's back.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Keep that contestation going on around the A-long position. You get the pick. This is really cool. Oftentimes, CT sides are going to split up on the bomb side, 2 to a side, and that often gives up middle control. That means you're going to be light to player on one of the bomb sides. So it's easier for the T side to overwhelm one of those positions. And even if you do decide to give up middle, so you're stronger on the bomb side, that's still so much free map control for a T side to set up a devastating split onto a bomb side, which is very difficult to hold. So getting a pick like this against the CT side is pretty devastating, because splits become so powerful. However, we may not necessarily see a split here, as we do have Global Esports looking to try to just bum rush through the tunnels.
Seems that there will be a little warning. Another smoke grenade. There's the bomb is spotted immediately. Some Molotovs and some counter flashes. Hiding behind double stack Benkais, who only get 1 frag, in fact. And there are 2 players that remain, Antidote and Camel, trying to plant the bomb. Is this Molly for default? Seems it might be, forcing the T's away from certain positions for the retake.
So it's definitely something to consider here going for this. There's not too many rounds left, and actually, I'm looking at their money in more detail there, and they're actually a bit broke. So never mind. I thought they still had loads of money. So yeah, saving the 2 AWPs makes a lot of sense. Global Esports converting on that quick 5 versus 4, and that's the power of getting a quick pick on the T side. It's so difficult in Dust 2 to adjust your rotations, and I mean, you just end up giving up the whole map. You give up all the information. You're kind of sitting on the bomb sites, completely blind. You don't know what's coming or when it's going to happen, and so the numbers are overwhelming at that point. And so Global Esports capitalizing on that early advantage, but they have to find that again this round. And so I'm curious what their approach for that will be. And okay, Antidote spawn is not so good for long, but it is pretty good for B.
Yeah, the advantage of the spawn towards B is that you can have a look at people jumping onto the platform, because they will be exposed if they do that. So you can try to punish, and I think he's going to do exactly that. There is the jump, and there is the punish. Beautiful stuff. Moving into the B bomb site, maybe really there's likely 1 person there. He will invite some players. In the meantime, we've got Boot taking the short B position. Now, how many players are rotating into the B bomb site? There's the second one. They're just waiting for a commitment from the CT so far, but they might be waiting for a plant. It's a big frag from Zoran, and Global Esports might just get their 4th round on the board here.
Yeah, it's looking pretty likely, but not a bad frag from Benkai. He doesn't take any damage in return as well. So 3 versus 3. The bomb is yet to be planted. Plenty of time for the A player to rotate for the Boot side and get himself on position towards that B bomb side, but still hanging out towards A just in case the bomb's being rotated. And we want to see a boost over the smoke here. Good stuff from Benkai. Let's see if he's able to get something. Might just spot 1. Oh, there it is. That is a big frag to get. Antidote goes down. Right-clicking an HE over the top here. The bomb still needs to be planted. They're going to hear that. That means they know where one of the players is. Bobasaur's going for it. Free kill. Traded out, though, but it's a 1 versus 2 now for Camille. Devi and Benkai on the way.
Only 8 HP for Camel. We're asking a lot from him. The flashbang is enough for Boot to get their 11th round on the board. Global going to have to wait to get their 4th round on the board. A noble effort, but it won't work out in their favor. But again, the entry behind the big box on the B bomb site was really good, and that's an example of what you could do when you have a spawn, if you know where to look and so on. Any CT who jumps up there is exposed for a time before they hop behind the barrels. So that was a great example of what can happen, and a nice demonstration of his skill as well in particular. I've got 2 AWPs on the T side. So far, so good. They've taken an early kill. That's fantastic.
Yeah, both AWPers connecting. That is quite funny. So the last 3 times we've seen opening frags from Global Esports of a quick trade and trade again. So now down to 3 for Boots. They're going to have to start taking some risks. As you can see, Alex gravitating towards that B-bomb site. Antidote is finally turning up, James. Might be a little bit too late, but at least he's getting it in whilst it still counts for a round. And Bulbasaur, he is looking to go and cause some problems on this B-bomb site.
2v4, he's got a lot to do. Maybe playing off the distraction of his teammate now is the best chance, but it won't happen. 4 rounds on the board for Global Esports to give themselves a fighting chance moving into the second half.
It feels pretty tough. It feels like your margin for error is nothing.
An exchange of pistol fire in the middle position. Splash has been given a P250. He's got Kevlar as well. That's exactly what you want on ranges like this. If you have a Glock, your one-shot range to the head is pretty bad in a pistol round. If you have a P250, it's almost double the range. So it really has a lot of mileage on a pistol round for a T side. Helps them duel the P250, the USPs easier. It's a lovely one-tap from Tito. Can't get a second one, however. And that is a chance for Boot to try and make their way onto the A-bomb site, but plenty of 1v1s, but they will win them.
Still 2 of them left. The smoke kit on Rex might be instrumental. We'll have to see. Splashki playing a close position. Oh, I think if he had stayed there, he would have spotted Camille. I think Camille was visible, his legs at least, through that smoke. And Rex will be coming in from the back, and he's gone. Camille, it's all on him now. Doesn't have the kit, and now he is forfeits. And that's Boots picking up the second pistol, and that does not look good for Global Esports. This is a difficult spot. You kind of want to force buy on the CT side, but in this position, your money is so wrecked that it's a hard choice to make. It is a choice they have made, and we'll have to see if they can get something out of it. Boot actually managed to, on the first half, if we think back, find a victory pretty convincingly with a round like this.
Fishing. Some fishing is being done. Benkai with the Krieg. Love some Krieg action. It is painful, it is beautiful, it is very, very accurate indeed. 3 kills, and surely this round is over. Sports, Global Esports. Will they even be able to hold on to what little they have in this round? The bomb is not planted just yet. There's plenty of time on the clock, and it will be by elimination that Boots win. 3 rounds away from victory now, a landslide victory here on Dust 2. And the money's broken for Global Esports, so it's a great chance for Boot to put another one in the sack.
Absolutely. It's looking really, really confident for them now. Looking very calm, looking like they're in their element. It seems like a great map for them. I think individually we're starting to see that flair. We were talking about that previously. It's a great map for individuals to shine on, and I know we've been seeing that. And the quick long take will be the order of the day here for Boots as they take that away, and they'll quickly figure out no one's there. Fast rotation from pretty much everyone for Global Esports as they try to reposition with those pistols. They got a smoke and a flashbang, which could be pretty useful here. They could cause some chaos. There's the flashbang, peeking with 4 players at once. However, there's just as many Ts, and they've got better guns. 14-4, Boots 2 away from taking Dust 2 away from Global Esports.
Yeah, now the game begins. Global Esports with the money to buy. Antidote is on AWP. And now he has the luxury of holding the CT angles rather than peeking into them on the T side. So we may see him start to rack up the kills on the CT side. Speaking of racking up the kills, Benkai is 21 for 8 at the moment. Hot on the heels is Bulbasaur with 16 kills. So we'll see if either of those can improve their tally in this particular round, or if it will be. That's a lovely pre-fire shot from Antidote. He knows his angles, delivers a kill straight in the chest onto Bulbasaur.
Yeah, he's really warmed up nicely. However, oh, I wonder if they would have heard that. They must know surely what that means. Indeed, CT spotted close. Alex wants to try to punish that. Flashbang comes in. Great combo. Good teamwork there. And now down to Divine Splash Geek. They can at least get a lot of damage to the economy of the CT side. That will be a victory. That's the goal now, as they luckily don't feel as though there is an easy way otherwise to win the round. So,
Here we go.
So get some frags. And it's looking like it's going to be a clean slate here, unless Divine picks up this kill, which he does. Trade comes in quickly. That's very good for Global Esports, and that will be some breathing room. However, the money's fairly good still for Boots, so they're going to be hitting things up with another buy. The orb comes out in the splash ski, and they really need, Global Esports really need Antidote to find them another opening jewel that's a success.
All right then. Money is in the bag. Camille is on 20 HP. Painful for him, but what can you do? Such is the nature of the beast. Flashes into the B bomb site, maybe inviting some counter grenades, and there's a few more. So they'll get the smoke grenades used early, but in that extraction, Benkai is outside the window position, maybe outstaying his welcome, and running through the smoke now. This is completely disastrous for Boot, but it's fantastic for Global Esports. They haven't lost a single player yet. If they can keep Camel and Rex alive, that would be fantastic for them, try and build some money. But one will get taken out, but 4 is still alive.
Indeed. Yeah, the timing there was really not good for Boots. I think they had a setup that should have crushed the B bomb site. They had the flank, which was unknown. However, the flank as it was coming in, the T stopped making any noise. They got smoked off, and they just didn't decide to kind of go with it at the right timing. And that was a huge problem for their success, but Global Esports are very happy with that one. They'll pick it up. You know, it's going to be 6-14. So it's a long road to recovery, but it is a road that's being trodden, and they have a lot of money now. So double ops in for them as well, and we'll see a save from Boots. However, again, there's basically no margin for error here for Global Esports. They can't afford to put a foot wrong. I think with what I see on the board there for Boots, going for that short plant here, just go up catwalk, get the smoke down on the corner, flash, flash, and getting a smoke plant is also very possible. They have 2 smokes, and it does look like that is the objective.
And so with some target practice coming his way. There is the first one, half blind though. Not quite hitting the flicks just yet, but maybe it's not too late. This is a Nika round after all. Expecting a short plant, there is a Molotov in that direction, and they're going to have to go for the plants, the bad plant, if you will, which means it's the hardest one to defend on the C side. Although the deagles, that's not a bad start. They can't collect the weapon though. With that smoke on the site, you used to be able to jump onto elevator and spot a player behind it. You can't quite do that anymore. Global's just trying to, well, Rex is trying to hold on to his weapon. But Boots are not done with this round just yet. Still trying to pursue, but it's getting harder and harder. There's a defuse attempt from Antidote, and I don't know if this is going to work out for him. Is he going to make it in time? Oh, he stopped him with the knife. He's going to win a round, or is he? Is there a kit? I think he's got it just about, but boy, how expensive was that?
Wow, that was way too expensive. Divide, he gets 3 deagle kills and a knife kill. That is
not too shabby.
Unprecedented, James. It's so ridiculous, yeah. That's a really big problem. That hurts, as you say, the money enormously. So despite it being a victory, it's not ideal. And speaking of money, the money's pretty good again for Boots. They'll get the full buy-in. Splash key on the AWP. We've yet to see him actually get an opening kill, but once again, the ops here for Global are finding a really fast pick at the beginning of these rounds. Constellation map control taken by Boot there, having the long position in hand. But this double man setup towards the catwalk position will be annoying to deal with. And typically, if you're looking at a default, which is more or less what's happening now for Boot, you're going to come into that catwalk position with maybe 2 players, and you're not expecting to see two CTs holding the stairs oftentimes.
Grenades for these situations next to the stairs, around the corner from the wall. Soren and Tito still standing their ground. They've given up long. They have to hold short. This is really important. It's hard to retake, or something you just wouldn't try if you didn't have one of those two positions. There's a flash smoke, but it's not deep enough, and that's the bomb making a play. That's the wrong person. The flash was slightly short. That's also an issue. And it was in front of him rather than behind him, so there's a lot of problems with that particular flashbang. And the bomb still needs to be collected. In the meantime, Global are holding their position. They've got a 4 versus 2, and Tito is still harassing in this short B position. Short lane, sorry. 4 flashes and grenades. There's a trade kill. Global are playing well. Antidote trying to support. And we'll see Splash collect the bomb, but where does he head? We've got a player in CT now. I think he may have just heard that drop. But he might not have been expecting that. 6 rounds behind Global Esports. They keep winning rounds.
They do indeed, just like the map we had earlier, you know, we have this narrative building on the first half, and then in the second half that narrative gets upset, as we see in this case Global Esports making the comeback looking, you know, somewhat comfortable. And Boots' money is not quite there, half buy. Honestly, they came so close with that previous buy where they had a deagle, a P250, 2 smokes and a couple flashes, and a short plant play. Like that, they should definitely try that again. And they can afford to spend a lot more this time around and still have a solid buy in the following round. So hopefully that's what we get. It looks like, I mean, we're going to get the CZs, the deagles, the Kevlar, but will we get the short push? Looks like we may not. So I'm curious what their other strat is for a round such as this, with a buy like this. Typically that short play is the strongest way to deal with this. And it looks like they may go for a B push, James.
Indeed, with a flank from Alex. So far, so good. The AWP is delivering, and that they are defending Global Esports. So many targets. There's, oh, okay, now we've got problems. The bomb can get planted. There was the flank from Alex, but Global was still waiting on the A bomb site. An AWP for Devi. Ben Kai hasn't picked anything up just yet, looking for a weapon, but I think the fast plant would have been required. And he's been picked off somehow. I don't know if he crossed the door or what was going on there, but they've missed a plant situation, and Devi doesn't know how close people are to fake. Zoran has a look. That's a big frag. He's still got 1 minute on the clock. He does not even have bomb plant pressure just yet, but he will commit this time.
He has to complete the ace to clutch this round. He doesn't know who the second player is. You can see the threat of the flank is so enormous. CTs have a lot of time here. They've got kits, they've got nades. Split comes in. Devi can't get it done. And I agree, James. I have no idea how the bomb goes down unless he's crossing the doors to get a gun.
How it's dropped, yeah.
In a spot where the only thing that's important is planting first, then yeah, it's a very strange situation. However, Devi on this deagle, in the previous round, you remember as well, he got 4 kills. He got 3 deagle kills and the 9th kill. So he's obviously got quite a nice deagle on him.
Yeah, he is 25 for 14, so he has certainly been practicing of late. Okay, now we've got both teams with a juicy buy. Oh, that smoke is to cross without being sniped, and also to deny information, but it hit a teammate, so Boots gets to see exactly how many players crossed. Easily avoided flashbang by, well, not by Camille, but towards him. And now what? Teams jockey for position. Antidote just about missing a player in T-spawn. He doesn't know where he came from now. If it was B or A, doesn't really matter. And Splash will take him out. He heard the shots being fired, but still went to have a look and was punished.
So again, we saw the 5 versus 4 situation for the T side on the last half. We talked about that quite a bit, and it's the same thing here for Boot. You know, it's hard to really go wrong as long as you all attack the same bomb site at the same time. Then it's difficult to put a foot wrong. Again, we should expect, hopefully, some good flashbangs and smokes to help make the way across. And Global Esports with the right read here, stacking towards that A bomb site with the 3rd player being cheated over, leaving just 1 on the B bomb site. And there is the lurk smoke for Catwalk that you often see. On the corner there, there's like one-way setups for that as well, where you can look under it. And they go out, they flash Camille once. No second flash coming in. No Camille gets himself a frag. Not taken down though. There's also
Wow.
damage done. Bobasaur with a fantastic peek. Finishes off Camille as well. And that is the AWP out of the picture. And Rex swaps his AWP out for an M4 for better retake possibilities.
With all the damage they did in the previous rounds, Global may feel like they have to go for this, otherwise they're going to be facing match point. Tiso's got to find a kill here. He's got to land that kill, but there's too many people on the site, and it's not going to work out. They get wiped out, and that is match point for Boot. And they have 6 rounds more than Global at the moment. Global have got a force buy, obviously, because they're against match point. Let's see what kind of buy they have. They will lose the range of the AWP and go down to the short range CZ. The nerfed UMP with the higher damage fall off now. And Zorin has bought a flashbang and a Desert Eagle and Kevlar and has nothing left. So this might mean more aggression from Global Esports, but Dust 2 is a difficult map to be effectively aggressive on the CT side no less, and especially when you are ill-equipped, such as they are right now.
Yeah, it's pretty awkward, to say the least. And you can see this is one option they're taking to handle it. As Splashkey takes one down the middle, is to go for a catwalk aggression. You know, you can play closer ranges. You know, you can have faster rotations. There's lots of reasons why it makes sense, but it is still going to be difficult. They are still outguns, but if they pick a good timing, and there is a pretty nice timing. As you can see, they'll go 2 for 1. However, they were already down a man, so there's still a 3 versus 3. And with 2 spot on a catwalk, you can see it. Alex is going to walk out into mid. Oh, sorry. Benko is going to walk out into mid to get taken down. 2 versus 2 now as the A-bomb side is taken up, and the bomb will be planted. Camel is looking for a jump shot. Doesn't want to give his position away.
Got to avoid the grenades as well, and he's got to wait for his teammate. Now they could try and boost together, but one's been spotted. That's a huge frag. And now Splash, how does he avoid getting traded with the AWP? Oh, that was beautiful from Splash, but can he get around the corner in time? It looks like he can. That is a disgusting way to finish the match. Absolutely exceptional play from Splash K. Deserving of the victory. Beautiful clutch from him, and it's a strong victory for Boots.
Yeah, and you can see that their money being so stretched really paid into that clutch there, because there was no helmet on the last player. The Glock was enough. Just one shot from the Glock was enough to get the kill at that range. So that's a great response from Boot, and you know they had a great match, 16-9. But credit to Global Esports. You know they had a really horrendous first half, but they looked like they were bouncing back in the second half. It was a very similar narrative, very similar story as to the game we just witnessed on Train as well, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was very, very difficult, but the individual play from the winners was really, really strong as well. Especially, I mean, that was a great example towards the end there. Really nice stuff from them, and both teams are shaking hand. Great sportsmanship, and we'll see what this means for the games to come tomorrow. I think we can probably go over to the desk for the final thoughts of the evening.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a good game there from Boot Dreamscape. They finished things off. And by the way, I just want to point out, as soon as it was Splashy in that 2v1 at the end, I knew he would win it.
Yeah, we all knew he was going to win.
It's Splashy, it's the A-bomb site on Dust 2. Name a better duo.
Head's got an AWP and a Glock. He made
can't.
it work.
I only have one question for that. What? What was that?
That's we're used to it. That's Splashy
Yeah,
stuff,
exactly.
right? But credit to Global. They did show some resilience at the end. It looked like it was going to be basically the same. It was almost a similar first half as we saw earlier with Signify playing, right? And it looked like it was going to be a stomp. I kind of felt like they had something to show on the CT side, but then again, like you said, the money kept getting broken. They kept losing players. That one round in particular, where I think it was against only pistols, and I think Boot had like maybe a couple of one smoke, a couple of flashbangs, and a CZ, and just a bunch of Glocks, and it came down to 1v1. And when they're already at 14, I think that made the money very precarious, because if you look at the previous round, when they lost this one, they just had pistols. A couple of guys only had pistols. So I think that was a very crucial round that they shouldn't have lost if they want to make this a little bit closer. But looking at Boot, like everyone is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I mean that round that was one Deagle that actually got both kills.
Yeah, and Benkai or Bulbasaur, I forget. One of the guys.
Yeah, I don't really remember actually. Yeah, it seems like to me that in the first half, Boot kind of let go of B a lot. They were still winning the rounds, but they only had like say one player and he would stick by window or something. And sometimes you get caught off guard as he's looking elsewhere. So I felt like they were leaving B too open. And even though they still won in the end, it was a mistake. I felt like they should have focused more on it. Global Esports though actually focused on B a lot more. And it kind of showed, because every time they tried to push B, it didn't exactly work.
Yeah.
For Boot Dreamscape, I think that's job done. in a sense, right? They've
Yeah.
knocked over that first game. They've still got another one going up against Greyhound, though. And that, I think, is where things get a little bit interesting, right? You mentioned before you felt as though, or maybe it was you, regardless, Boot Dreamscape sort of fired.
I mean, we kind of look the same.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Absolutely.
looking exactly
No,
the same.
the quote I'm going to say is, Boot Dreamscape, all the players, quote-unquote, firing on all cylinders. Now, I don't know if necessarily that is the case, given the fact 16-9 to me, I think if Boot Dreamscape's all firing on all cylinders, they're 16-0ing.
Yeah, true. I think I was that T side felt a little too loosey-goosey for my taste, right? Like the way they were hitting the B bomb set, for example. And also, if you look at the scoreline, yes, they were firing on all cylinders in the first half. In particular, I think everyone went double digits. Like Bulbasaur was going off, Benkai, everyone. But then again, you got to look at the caliber of opponents you're facing off against, right? And for Global, they are the biggest underdogs over here. Credit to them, they got 9 rounds. Good job. They still have another game to play. That's going to be against Greyhound. That's going to be rough as well. But like you said, for Dreamscape, I thought that should have been like a 16-5, 16-4 scoreline. They should just close it out. Yeah. And it was a little worrying for me the way they're playing that. There were so many moments where I'm like, if this was a better team they're facing off against, they probably would have been abused much more. So that's a worrying factor for them. I still think Greyhound do have the upper hand against them, though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it feels a bit like deja vu, doesn't it, from the Signify game?
Yeah.
It just seems like they always start slow in terms of global esports, of course.
Yeah.
They always start slow and then somehow manage to crawl back up again. And it was just a few minor mistakes that they made, such as that round we mentioned earlier about that Deagle. And generally speaking, Boot actually had it in the bag still. They just were a bit lacking behind in getting those kills. And then once they start winning those duels, you notice a lot in the beginning of the round that they kept dying to the ops of global esports.
Yeah.
And once they figured out a way to get around that, and they got themselves into a bomb plat at least, especially a clutch situation, as we clearly saw the last round, they actually had a lot more confidence in themselves going from there. So I believe that's what really brought them to the end of the game.
We were talking a little bit earlier as well about Boot Dreamscape on land, some of the issues that they have had in the past. I don't think we can necessarily draw too many conclusions just from that one game.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a little bit that we can kind of have a look at. Has that, raised your concerns or alleviated the concerns?
I think this game is kind of like, I really wouldn't look at this game for anything. Like I said, even if it's a 16-1 win, a 16-2 win, I mean, the competition, the level of competition in this tournament is quite drastic, so to speak. You have Greyhound and MVP on the other hand, then you have Global Esports and Signify, who are kind of the weaker teams over here, right? I wouldn't want to read too much into it. Also, when you have an 11-4 lead, they might have been feeling a little bit like, it's all right, guys, you got us in the bag. Take it a little easy, and they might have kind of left their foot off the pedal a little bit, right? And then in the end, they closed it out, and you can see when they got the bomb done, postmans were great. They were like mind gaming them. They were very proactive in the way they're going about things. And when they played Greyhound, they are going to be very much ready for the Aussie team, and I really want to watch that game.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, but that's all we have for tonight. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. End of our broadcast for now, but we will be back tomorrow with more Cobx Masters, Dota 2, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Stay tuned.